Hello, everyone. Welcome to our second info day for the AIBC open calls. We're waiting for people to connect. We're wishing everyone that you had a wonderful lunch and eager to share with you this hour where we are going to talk about the open calls really quick. This is the second info day, as I already told you. So there is a first info day recording, which is available for everyone, where you can hear it all. And then all the calls are explained little by little and like in a broader way. Today, we're gonna have like the first half hour of this event on again an overview of each of the calls. There have been some slight changes in some of them, so we'll share them with you too. It's not anything related to content on anything, it's related mainly to the deadlines and some extra requirement for some calls, but that's it. Everything else remains unchanged. We have then, as I was telling you, half an hour of the calls, and then we'll have the moment for you to ask questions and to answer any doubt that you have. For everyone, just to know, you have habilitated a section of Q&A in your computers. You can go there, write, and send us any questions you may have during the half an hour presentations, and we'll address those questions at the end of the presentations. So just keep it, once you, let's say, when you get the question, just write it down, and then we'll answer it. If we are not able to answer them all during this hour, or if the question needs a little bit more of information of gathering around or something, we'll for sure come back to you, and we'll publish the questions also on our Info&Match platform, which is on B2Match. We'll share with you all the links also afterwards. So I'm just going to start with some information about our project. So as you know, the AIBC EUROCLUSTERS project is funded by the European Commission. Is the acronym actually for Artificial Intelligence and Blockchain for a Greener and More Digital Economy, supported by European clusters. So this is a European project that is actually tackling, as it says, cross-fertilization and implementation of artificial intelligence and blockchain technologies in 4 different industrial ecosystems, which are manufacturing, mobility, logistics, and energy. Our main purpose, let's say, is to support small and medium companies from all around the European Union members and also of the Single Market Program. The idea is to support the development, as it says, and the digitalization, and also the green, so the twin transition, both green and digital, of SMEs around, as I was telling you, Europe. In order to do so, this project is actually coordinated by us. I represent Fondazione Piemonte Innova, which are the coordinators of the project. We're based in Italy. And we have another project partner, which also is based in Italy, the Environment Park, which is our expert on energy and clean tech. Then we have our German partner, which is BW-Con, Baden-Württemberg Connected Research, and they are located in Baden-Württemberg, as it says. Then we are specialized in ICT and digitalization too, as us. Then we have a Bulgarian partner, which is the ICT cluster, which is a national cluster, which represents also ICT. Then we go towards Spain, actually Basque Country, when our partner, the mobility and logistic clusters from the Basque Country, is representing, as it says, mobility and logistics topics. And then we have our Polish partner, which is the Bydgoszcz Industrial Cluster, which is a tool and plastic cluster. So they're representing the manufacturing part. Together, we compose the consortium of AIBC EUROCLUSTERS project, and we are the ones in charge, of course, of managing and supporting these projects. So let's pass by without any further waiting to the main, let's say, important thing of the open calls. As I was mentioning, the project is aimed to support small and medium enterprises and micro enterprises and startups too. They have to, let's say, fulfill the specific requirements, which are they have to work either in artificial intelligence and or blockchain technologies. They can also be from the manufacturing, mobility, logistics, or energy sectors, but interested, of course, in adopting these two technologies, which are, let's say, as you see, the main target of our project overall. Of course, all these solutions, the initiative, the activities that our open goals are going to fund have to be tackling also digital resilience and green activities. So it's important for you to take that into account too when you are preparing, let's say, a project application, an application overall. As I was mentioning before, also, they have to be, the small and medium companies have to be established in one of the member states of the European Union, or also in one of the countries participating in the single market program. This list of countries, you can find it also on the the frequently asked questions, and in all the open calls. When you go there, you'll find the link that brings you towards these the list of the participating single market countries. Of course, in order to be considered a small and medium enterprise, then the companies have to fulfill this definition from the European Commission. So less than 250 employees and an annual turnover of less or equal to 50 million. It can be also an annual balance sheet of less or equal to 43 million. So it's important for you to start checking this out and take that into account. As you know, the project, we have the open calls are cascade funding. It means that it has this financial support to third parties, in which, in this case, the third parties are the SMEs that are applying to the open calls. Some key rules from the, let's say, that comes from the project itself are linked to the fact that the beneficiaries, meaning the SMEs, small and medium companies that participate and that get funded to the open calls, by the open calls, cannot receive overall more than 60,000 euros. So you can participate to several of our open calls. The important thing is for you is that you won't be able to get more than 60,000. So that's why in the application forms, you may find a question that states that you are not, let's say, asking overall for more than this. The financial support to third parties is also granted through a lump sum payment. Lump sum are actually fixed amounts that are, let's say, in this case, depend of the kind of activities that you will be doing and the kind of, let's say, yeah, all the activities that you're proposing and that you want to go. We have each open call has its limits. So each open call has up to a specific amount, and you as an applicant can, let's say, ask up to that amount. It can be less because it has to be congruent with the kind of activities that you will be developing. So that's important for you to take also into account when you're, let's say, writing an application. You have to be able to demonstrate in some way that what you are going to let's say, develop through the project is, of course, let's say, linked to the total amount that you're asking. So for the payment, this is one of the modifications that I was telling you about before. It's a new, let's say, condition in order to get paid. Officially, and all, let's say, in all the calls, the payment is after completion of the funded activities. So there are 4 calls, all of them you'll get the, let's say, the 100% at the end of the activities. For 2 calls, which are digitalization services and product development, that is one, and project proposals, that is the other, there is a possibility of an interim payment, which is of 20% of the total amount of the activities. And this can be paid, let's say, within, it says after, but it would be like for the activities that you complete in the first 2 months of your project or proposal. So this was already let's say foreseen in the calls. The thing is now this payment is going to be linked to a favorable outcome of a declaration of financial capacity. This is something that allows us as coordinators and as entity that is managing this budget of the open calls to have an extra, let's say, declaration from your side to know that you are capable of, let's say, anticipating the expenses. So you have to fulfill this small, let's say, requirement, which is actually linked to the revenues or the shareholders' equity that you have within your income statement. So the idea is that companies must have at least double the, let's say, the amount in revenues as the amount that you are requesting for the AIBC calls. Okay, so this is something that is a new, let's say, addition. Is not included actually in the eligibility of the company. Is only linked to the capacity of receiving this interim payment of 20% after 2 months, and then 80% at the end, or receiving the total amount at the end of the project proposals. Okay. We are, let's say, this is something that we included right now. Then it has, let's say, the fact that we included this in these 2 calls. We decided to postpone the deadline of these 2 calls, the first deadline, of a week. So then we have a new deadline, not on the 5th of September, but on the 12th of September. You'll see that in the next, let's say, slides that my colleagues are going to share with you. So I give the word to one of my colleagues so we can start talking about the, let's say, open calls themselves. Alessandra.
Okay, thanks, Silvana, and good afternoon to everybody. I will present the training call that have been open on the 6th of June 2023 and will remain open till the 5th of September 2023. These kind of activities include training activities that can be held in presence or online, meaning coaching, mentoring, interactive training, on-the-job training or courses, addressing a total amount of budget of 150,000 euros, which means 5,000 up to 5,000 euros per SME. But let's see together who are the eligible companies for this call. Eligible companies can be SMEs or startup coming from the ICT sector, already working on the AI or blockchain field, coming from manufacturing, mobility, logistics, or energy sectors. The activities that are eligible for funding can address, in this case, for instance, the digitalization planning related to AI or blockchain adoption, specific implementation of AI or blockchain, updates on artificial intelligence and blockchain technologies that maybe are already present in the company but can be improved thanks to this training activity, can address how AI or blockchain can support the twin transition, sustainability and resilience topics, or can address new skills related to AI blockchain technologies that will be somehow added to the skills already present in the company, and finally can address the knowledge transfer or the development of business model implementing the topics of AI, blockchain, green sustainability and resilience. What we need from you after the activities, we need an attendance certificate and also a training activity final report related to the activity that you held up. The activities, once that you sign the contract with us, the agreement, let's say, must be completed by September 2024. And in terms of eligible costs, only the cost for the training activities themselves can be included. Let's pass that to the evaluation criteria. As said before, look into the budget. At least 30 companies will receive the final support for this kind of activity, and they will be evaluated according to 3 evaluation criteria, meaning relevance, specific and general goals tackled by the training, meaning coherence in terms of how these training activities is coherent in terms of quality, so internally speaking, but also more related to the coherence with the AIBC goals, more in general. And finally, another evaluation criteria refers to the impact in terms of the contribution that this call will give to your company and the persons participating. Closing then and addressing the timeline for participating to this call. As said before, these are the opening and closing dates coming soon in September 2023. You will receive, in terms of information about how it went, your application, you will receive news by mid-October 2023. And from this moment, you will have, in case of acceptance of your proposal, 5 days to accept the proposal and then to sign the agreement. Once that the agreement has been signed, then you can develop your activities of training before September 2024. And after 60 days of having received your final reporting and attendance of certificate of attendance, you will be paid for the total amount of the activity that you have held. Now I leave the floor to my colleague Miriam to speak better about the next call. I keep you just a refresh. I remind you all that once that we explain call by call, then you are free to leave your questions in the live chat, so that at the end of our speech, then we will address one by one all the questions. Please, Miriam.
Thank you, Alessandra. I'm going on with another call, that is the one related to services and product development. Also, in this case, the call is open, and this is the first of the 2 calls that has a new deadline, that is not the 5th of September anymore, but 12th of September 2023, sorry. So you have some more time if you want to participate to this first cutoff date. There is also another one. This is the one of the 2 calls that has the possibility of applying twice. So there is also the possibility of apply before 16th of January 2024, so next year. What are the activities targeted by this call? The objective is to finance service and product activities related to service and product developments. So considering technology transfer, the use of infrastructure, proofs of concept, business model development, services related to innovation development, resilience continuity plans, and product and solution development. The total amount for this call is 300,000 euros, split among the 2 between the 2 deadlines, and the objective is to finance activities up to 15,000 for each euro for each SME participating. This call with the one related to the project is the one that is asking you to provide some more information about some challenges that you want to address, to help you giving some precise direction related to the activities that you are going to develop. And in this table, you are looking at the 6 main macro challenges developed for this call, and this, as you can see from the color, the line on the right, each of them is associated with some of the ecosystem that AIBC EUROCLUSTERS project want to support in their digitalization process. The 6 targets of these challenges for this call are the sustainability and green manufacturing using AI blockchain linked to environmental impact. The second one is associated with blockchain application that can support transition. Then another challenge is the one considering identification of the source of inefficiency and take corrective action through blockchain and AI. Then you can develop services, ask for services facing renewable energy sources and smart grid management thanks to AI and blockchain's application. Then there are two applications of AI for, in one case, for the optimization of logistics paths, another one for smart mobility and pollution reduction within cities. Just as an example, each one of these 7 macro challenges is developed in littler and more precise topic, also in this case to help you to better addressing some topics associated with the AIBC EUROCLUSTERS activities and domains. Just an example, if we are looking, for example, at the macro challenge associated with blockchain application to support transactions, you can see that there are 4 topics more precisely describing activities. Each of them associated with some ecosystem, industrial ecosystem in a different way. For example, there is the possibility of asking services that focus on the enabling and disintermediating complex payments or the exchange of values and services, obviously using blockchain technologies. Then there is a topic considering the notarization of documents and transaction as and all the activities connected as the certification timestamps to favor the service conversion and the certification. There is a topic and a challenge more focusing more on the documentation management, so concerning the goods, the driver and the vehicle that transports these goods. And then another one about intellectual property management, so the registration and protection of the intellectual properties in patent, trademarks and copyrights. As you will see also from the documentation that is available online, each of the macro challenges for the service has some specific challenges, a topic description. A quick overview about the eligibility criteria. The beneficiaries can be small, medium enterprises coming from ICT, manufacturing, mobility, logistics, or energy sector that has to be funded before the 21st December 2021. And as already cited by my colleague Silvana, they have to be registered in a member state or has to be a country participating in a single market program. The activities associated with the service and product development can last up to 6 months from the signature of the agreement and has to be completed by September 2026. What can be funded? The funding amount must cover costs for the services and activities, and we are asking you to provide an offer from a service provider that you as a company has to activate, and the costs are meant just for performing these services and these activities connected with the service. The objective is to fund at least 20 companies. Also for this call, there are some evaluation criteria that you have to accomplish. And so when you will apply on the online application form, then the information that you are providing will be evaluated, and we will look at the relevance, at the coherence and the impact of the service that you are asking for. So in the first case, we check the coherence of the proposal with the challenges. So take care of the topics and the contents, and also the solution that's to be adequate with the specific and general objective of your company. The coherence, so will focus on the service provider that you are proposing, and also some a view about the financial assessment of costs and the timeline organization of work. And finally, another relevant point is the impact and the contribution that this solution can give to the innovation and digitalization of your company. The timeline, as I told, there is the call is open. There will be a first deadline on the 12th of September. There will be another one in January 2024. The idea is to give you information about the success, we hope, of your proposal by the end of October 2023 or the end of February 2024 in the case of you apply for the second call. And then you will have to accept the funding, and there will be the sign of of the agreement, the signature of the agreement. And then there is a deadline, as I told, about 6 months, and that you will be asked to respect to finish the activities about your services and everything that is funded. And then within 60 days after receiving the reporting documents, you will see the payment of the lump sum. Another call is the one related to the funding of the participation to international events. In this case, the deadline are two, also in this case. The first is on the 5th of September, and there is also in this case the possibility of applying in January 2024. For what? In this case, you can participate and take part in thematic summits, international conventions, global forum, conferences, congresses, exhibition and fairs to present artificial intelligence and blockchain technologies and solutions that you develop. The total amount is 20,000 euro, equally split in the two calls, and each company can reach up to 2,000 euro of funding. The beneficiaries can be small, medium enterprise or startup that work on these two domains and these technologies. And then people from this company can participate in person to events in Europe, both in Europe and both outside Europe. There will be a specific different amount that could be funded according to the region and the country where the event will take part. And you have to take part to the events that can be between November 2023 and October 2024. And we are funding traveling costs, accommodations, subsistence, fees for participation in events, and also booth costs. The evaluation in this case is more straightforward. So there will be two main evaluation criteria. So we will check the company profile that is inside the AIBC target, and also the objective of your companies within next year, and also obviously the objective and the goals to participate into the events. The goal is to try to fund at least 7 companies to help them in participating to events that can help them in saying all around their technologies and their development. A quick timeline also in this case, the deadlines are 2, as already told, and by the beginning of October in the first case, at the beginning of February 2024, you will have news about your application. Then there is the possibility of signing, and then also in this case, the procedure is similar. So within 6 days after receiving the effective participation of the events, we can give you the amount, the corresponding amount required. I give you the words to my colleague. As I recall, already told, if you have some question, feel free to write it, and then we'll answer. Thank you. The floor is yours.
Thanks, Miriam. Let's move then to the final project, to the final call, which is the call for the project proposal. Again, also in this case, we have a new deadline for this call. So keep in mind that you can upload your proposal, not anymore till the 5th of September, but till the 12th of September 2023. The activities that are targeted by this call, refer to the development of AI or blockchain prototype solutions for end users, or to testing through pilot or demonstrator of new improved environmentally friendly products or solutions and services that are including these technological topics. Companies will be in this, for this call, will receive up to 65,000 euros in a way in the form of consortium. So Let's move to, first of all, the macro challenges to address, and then let's deepen also here the eligibility criteria. As said before, for the services and products, also in this case, we are addressing macro challenges, which refer to specific topics. So let's move very, very quickly and repeat also some of them, as they address sustainability and green manufacturing using AI blockchain. They can address blockchain applications to support transition, or they can pass to the AI for optimization of logistic paths, renewable energy, and so forth. As you can see on the right column, then you have the fields, let's say the industrial fields, the industrial ecosystem that can be somehow included when addressing these macro challenges on the left. Moving then more specifically to the topics addressed by these macro challenges, let's take for instance, the macro challenge number, let's say number 4. Why this one? This macro challenge can be addressed. Let's move to the left part of the table. Can be addressed, for instance, the 4A, so the first one, can be addressed by companies coming from the energy or from the mobility field. These companies, when writing down their proposal in the form of consortium, may, first of all, address the macro challenge here on the left, addressing renewable energy sources, smart grid management, thanks to AI or blockchain applications, and more specifically, giving a bit of more of boundaries, let's say, when writing down your proposal, may include the integration of electric vehicles in power management platforms for smart grid in a way that progressively include more subjects and objects as possible in the electric smart grids. So this process should be then followed also for the other topics. You see here, for instance, the other one, again, open to the mobility sector is the 6th macro challenge, addressing, for instance, the 6A, the road network maintenance through precise information exactly held and obtained thanks to these technological applications. And in this way, every every industrial ecosystem can be touched and somehow can be included when addressing and writing down the proposal. How the proposal can be then submitted. As said before, among the most important eligible criteria for this call, when speaking about the beneficiaries, we speak here to consortia of at least 2 SME. One SME coming from the ICT sector and already working on the AI or blockchain field, and the other SME coming from the manufacturing, mobility, logistics, or energy sectors. The companies in this case must be officially funded before the 31st of December 2021 and must be registered, as said before from my colleague, in a EU member state or country participating to the program for a simple market program for countries. The duration of the project in this case, once that you sign the agreement, can go from 6 to 9 months, but it's compulsory to finish and complete all the activities by mid of September 2024, including the final reporting that you will be asked to write down. Here, there is just a sample of eligible costs that can be included in this kind of activity. So let's say, for instance, the staff costs for development and testing demonstration, then the travel accommodation costs between the beneficiaries that are developing the project during these 6 to 9 months, the equipment, technical consultancy when necessary, and so forth. So you can also include extra costs that you will be asked once again to describe when applying in the portal. Passing then to the evaluation criteria, once again, here we have 3 let's say, main sections that will be evaluated. One section refers to the excellence in terms of ambition, innovation, coherence that your proposal is highlighting. Then we pass to the implementation in terms of appropriateness, coherence with the AIBC codes and cost effectiveness of the work plan. And finally, to the impact. Keep in mind that among the impact factor to include, there is also a green impact factor that will be evaluated with, together with the business impact, the relevance in terms of the contribution that it will give to your own company, and also in terms of scalability. Moving finally to the timeline, as said before, the deadline for this call has been updated, so has been postponed to the 12th of September 2023. Once that you apply, then by mid-November 2023, you will receive information about how it went. And in case of positive response, then you will be asked to sign the contract, the agreement with the AIBC partners, and you will start, once that you sign the contract, you will start the activity that must be ended by September 2024. Remember also that in this case, you as a consortium will be asked as a requirement to take part to the final event, where you will have the possibility also to present the contents of your project. More information about the final event will be provided in the coming months. Once that you come back then from the final event, you also upload all the documents, refer to the final report of your project, and you will be paid. As said before, also in this case, the way you will be paid depends on the check, the initial check that will be done according to the, let's say, the economical stability of your company. So it may be that your payment will be divided in two parts. A first payment after 2 months from the beginning, refer to a 20% of the total amount that you got, and the 80% 60 days after the presentation of the final reporting documents, or directly the 100% at the end of the whole activities. So this is all for the projects. I leave the floor to Silvana for finishing, and I keep on reminding you to write down your questions, as we will not give you, let's say, the possibility to speak, but we will read very soon the questions that you have in mind.
Thank you, Alessandra. And yes, everyone, you can go to the question and answer part of this of the Zoom and write down all the questions you might have from what you just heard related to our 4 open calls. Thank you to my colleagues Alessandra and Miriam for this explanation, which is really clear and hopefully gives you all the information you may need, or even open up for new potential questions, let's say. This is our evaluation process that they were talking about. They were explaining the specific content of each of the open calls, and this is the process that will be followed afterwards. So after the deadline of the open calls, which are reposted here, so just for you to remember, the participation to events and the training open calls deadline remains unchanged, is the 5th of September 2023 at 17 hours Brussels time, so Italian time, and this kind of this part. Then the new date for the open calls related to project proposals and digitalization services and product development is the 12th of September, so it's 1 week after the original date. Don't go to sleep, don't wait until last minute. It's just for you to know you have an extra time for you to check this new part, but still we really, let's say, advise everyone to participate before you go on holidays, in that way you can go easy, but just for you to know we have this new date. Then the second deadline for the 2 calls that have cut off, which are again the participation to events and the digitalization services and product development open call, is on the 16th of January. It remains unchanged, given that there's more opportunity, there's more, let's say, time for developing that. So after the deadline is closed, then you have from 5 to 10 days, according to the open call, to check the eligibility of the companies that participated, that apply. Once that has been checked, if the company is not eligible because some of the requirements are not, let's say, fulfilled, you'll get a rejection email with the information about that your application wasn't eligible. So be careful and try, and you have, let's say, go towards fulfill all the eligibility criteria. In case for some instance you don't have, you can have the potentiality of represent the project that you did only for the call that have a second deadline. You can try to do that, of course, being considered, let's say, let's say more focused on the eligibility criteria. If you are eligible, though, you will pass to the evaluation process. The evaluation is going to be carried out by the internal consortium of the AIBC EUROCLUSTERS. We may have let's say, may contact some experts, especially for the, let's say, proposals that are tackling the challenges. So the ones related to the digitalization services and product development, and the ones related to the project proposals. This is external expert will maybe support on the specific topics where the competences are inside. But as I was mentioning before at the beginning of our webinar, we have all the, let's say, within the cluster, the partner consortium, we cover all the topics that are related in the calls. Then if you are not selected, then you will get a rejection email stating that you weren't selected. Instead, if you were accepted, let's say, for the application was good, you will get an acceptance email. This acceptance email, in the case of the digitalization services and product development calls, and in the case of the project proposal call, will have also will ask you also to prepare this financial capability, the assessment, let's say, declarations that you have to sign and send back to us. It should be done within 3 working days of the acceptance email, because in that way the agreement will depend on this declaration. As I was mentioning, the declaration only says if you will get 20% of the total amount 2 months after the project and the activities have started, and then at the end you'll get the 80%, or if you will get the 100% at the end of the activities. Then you have to sign the agreement, and then this agreement will be signed by us too. A template of this agreement will be published soon also on our website. In that way you can check it out. You can see what's the contract that you will be signing with it can be with us as Piemonte Innova, given that we're the coordinators and we are the managing the budget and the calls of the training, the digitalization services and product development, and the project proposals. Those 3 will be signed with us, while the participation to events is a call managed by our partner BWCon. So then the agreement part will be handled by them. So then we pass to our next slide. Which is actually the Q&A session. So we'll be opening to the questions. But before, I just want to remind you that we have an Info&Match platform, which is actually on B2Match. It is a common platform that many of you may have be familiar with, because it's the one that is used by the Enterprise Europe Network, which is also, you know, a European network that supports SMEs in different topics regarding to digitalization and applying to open calls. I think we have also some participants coming from the Enterprise Europe Network that can even support each company in getting more information about how to, let's say, participate to the calls and everything. So you can, for everyone that is interested, you should have also an Enterprise Europe Network, let's say, node and member within your region. So it could be good for you to contact them to have more information about the call. I wanted just to, we want to actually, in this platform, you can find different companies, and let's say from the digitalization part, so the technology part, working on AI and blockchain, but also companies working on the different industrial ecosystems, as well as potential service providers that you can activate or you can get in touch with if you're interested in getting in presenting a proposal. It also has a specific page where showing the international events that we are mapping. It doesn't need to, it is not linked. Let's say this map of international events is not linked to specific events that you must apply to with the participation to events call. It's just for you to get to know which kind of events are out there that are linked to the topic of AI and blockchain and the AIBC project, and is to give you ideas of what is there. So you can check that out too. And last but not least, which is actually really important, is also the frequently asked questions section on this platform. So I'm just gonna try to, let's say, get it out here, close it up on the sharing part. So we can maybe start with the answering the questions. Then if we have some minutes at the end, I will show you also the platform online if you want to. So in that way we can, let's say, go ahead. So I'm reading the first question is about if all calls are open to ICT companies. Actually, this yes, because if the ICT companies are working, have competences, or are in line with this artificial intelligence and or blockchain technologies, yes, they can apply to all the calls. But keep in mind that you have to have this competence on, because maybe if you're an ICT company, if you're just doing maybe web development and you don't have any competence, or you don't work with any kind of tool that involves artificial intelligence and or blockchain, then it wouldn't make any sense for you to apply to this call. In this case, you have to be let's say working on these topics, or at least even if it's just like a starting point, but you have to have the competences, because if you see, you will have these let's say you have to fulfill some of these requirements. So then second question, when you say AI and BC blockchain, do you mean that the proposal must be in AI or in blockchain, or in both? Thank you. This is actually a question that is actually on the frequently asked questions too, because it's something that we have gathered, we have received a lot. We refer to one, another, or both. So it depends. You can be only AI. In fact, if you go to check out the challenges, you see that some challenges are specifically for artificial intelligence, and some others are specifically for blockchain. And there are others, of course, that are for both technologies. So yeah, I know this, we know that in some parts of the open call it say AI and blockchain, but for you to know, it can be one of the two of them, or it can be both, because of course it will be really interesting to have both technologies apply to a specific project or a service. Okay, another question. As an SME, what is the maximum number of employees in a company? As we were showing before, we have you have to follow the let's say requirement from the let's say description from the European Commission, which says that it has to be an SME, a small and medium company, has to have less than 250 employees. So let's say up to 249. And then you have the annual turnover to fulfill too. So in this case, please bear in mind that for companies that are controlled or that are part of bigger groups, then the bigger group, if it's, let's say, the bigger group is holding more than 50% of the company, then you are considering actually a big company if it's a big group. So please stay, control that part. Yeah, that's the important thing. Then you can have less than 250 and you should be okay with everything. Okay, so I'm seeing if we have more questions over here. One about okay, yeah, we have the eligible countries from the single market program. So actually you can find the list of the single market program participating on the in the, let's say, in the other countries participating in the single market program is online. You can find it on every guideline. You can also find it on the frequently asked questions of the platform. And there's actually a PDF document that can be also downloaded on the website of the open calls. It's important to know that only the countries the single market program participating countries that have signed agreements are eligible. So there are some countries that have, let's say, said that they're interested, but they haven't signed any agreements yet. So for those, it's not possible to participate. So it has to be already a signed agreement related to the single market program. Okay. Here's another question. What costs are eligible for training? All his technical services costs or also employee costs, salary for the time allocated to training? So for training, you find the list of the let's say activities that you might can, let's say, include in the training activities. Is actually only the training activities. So we haven't included any part of personal participated to that. So it's mainly focused on the training activity itself. So if you can have an external provider of the training that you make them do an ad hoc training for your company, that is something that you could do with this call. So only this, let's say, the package of this training will be covered. Or you can even present other trainings that are organized by universities or entities that provide specific training. You can also, like, they can be, let's say, online and these kind of things. You can also apply for those. So only the cost specifically of the training itself. Okay, let's see if we have more. I don't know if do you have any other questions that you have received? Okay, we have if there is a limit for the number of SMEs in a consortium. So actually the consortium, of course, this is referring to the calls for project proposals. As it says in the consortium composition, there aren't any limit. You have to have at least 2 SMEs. So for sure, 1 tackling the technology part and 1 representing the industrial ecosystem, but you can be more than 2. The important thing is that you fulfill this, that at least one of these SMEs partners is tackling the technologies. So you can go ahead for a consortium of 3, 4, and more companies. Bear in mind that there's a limit of amount that you will receive for a project proposal, which is 65,000 euros. So of course, it's important for you to have this, let's say, this in mind when you are presenting a proposal. Then we also have, I think, another one. Let's see. There is actually, should the consortium be international or could it be from SMEs from the same country? Okay, yeah, the consortium can be both international or from the same country. If you go to the guidelines of the open call for project proposals, you will see that there is, again, in the same section 4.11, consortia can be from both type of let's say options, same country or international. If the consortium, if the SMEs are from different countries, then there's a bonus actually on the evaluation project. So you will get extra points for being two companies from different countries collaborating. And just for you to know, but then it could give you a, let's say, an advantage over other consortium. Okay. Don't be shy. You can send more questions. Let's see. Okay, there's another one. What is the maximum amount that a company can receive? So as we mentioned at the beginning, then is each company can receive up to 60,000 euros. So you can apply for more than one of the open call. You can even try to play if you want to put together a training together with a project proposal and or a service, a digitalization service. But the important thing that you can have to bear in mind is that each SME can receive only up to 60,000 euros. Okay, so that's good for you to know when you're applying, because it can be something that that can, like, if you don't do this math well, then you may be in trouble afterwards in terms of getting elected. There's, okay, I think. Okay, an entrepreneur type, auto-entrepreneur type of company, France is eligible. I think auto-entrepreneur, if you are referring, is a company of only one person, or okay, or if it's like, it has to be an SME. That's the important thing. So if you're not a small and medium company, so a company that has that is registered and has, for instance, in the case of the project proposals and the digitalization services of product development, you have to have been founded for at least, let's say, 2 years, because it's the 31st of December of 2021. You cannot participate to those calls. And to the training you can, and to the events you can, only if you are a registered company though. Okay. So I will take advantage of these last, let's say, minutes, just to show you a little bit B2Match. We're getting questions. Yeah, go ahead. Ask all you want. You have 3 minutes left. So, is it necessary to assess the success and progress of this project based on established KPIs? Okay, if you go to see the requested, let's say, documents that I think you're talking about project, so it's actually a project proposal. So in this case, in the requirements of the application form that you find in a Word document, or you can go ahead to Eurosurvey, which is let's say, the link. You'll see that we are asking you to propose some specific KPIs related to the project you're proposing, because we have a lot of challenges and we have a lot of different, let's say, the challenges are tackling different type of technologies. We ask everyone to define these KPIs within the proposal. Of course, it's important for you to relate them to the challenges and where your, let's say, answer specifically. So for sure, that is something you have to take into account when organizing, when proposing that project. You can find this application form. In that case, I go ahead and answer our next question, which is where the proposal should be sent. Is actually, there have to be applications must be submitted to through let's say, a specific link on Eurosurvey. We can you find it in the open call part, in all the guidelines. If we can send a chat to everyone, we'll send it. If not, we'll send you all a follow-up with all the links that you can find. If you go to the main, let's say, actually on the presentation also, there are all the links. I don't know if you saw it while we were talking about. Each QR code that you saw on the presentation was linked to the, let's say, open call page. When you find both the guidelines, you can download in a PDF. you find the, let's say, the package of documents that you are requested to attach for the, let's say, the calls that request to attach extra documents, that they can be declaration of honor, they can be these budget and activities, let's say, list. And actually you can, so you can download all of them. And there is actually this application form, which is an award that the idea is for you to facilitate for you to write the proposal. Then this is only, let's say, a guide, as it says, because you have to go to the links. They are on EU survey, but as I was telling you, we'll send it back to everyone too. So you have to do the application there. Only applications made through that form will be eligible, okay? So we'll send it out to all of you. Okay, I think we arrived to our time. Thank you very much for the participation. If you have any other questions, any other information that you may want to receive, please send it to us. There's also an email on, so you have received it in the link, the link to all the calls, and actually no, the link to the B2Match platform, and then this is a link to all the calls. There you can find everything related to each of the 4 calls that we presented today, and you can reach us for any questions you may have to AIBC at piemonteinnova.it. Okay, so thank you very much for all the questions, for your participation. Hopefully you go right ahead and start presenting some applications. See you and have a good evening.